Hello, friends, welcome to our channel. Today our topic is how Xi Jinping, China Communist Party, leader rose to power. As we know that China is the most populated country and it is a very difficult task to control every department successfully in such a big populated country. But Xi Jinping is the most powerful man who takes control of China and rises China as the most powerful country on the world map. Before we move on to the next step, first, subscribe to my channel for more interesting videos. The rise of Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Shanghai. Reuters. President Xi Jinping, China's most powerful leader since Mao Zedong, will be re-elected to a second 5-year term as president on Saturday by the rubber-stamp parliament, the National People's Congress. The son of Communist Party revolutionary and one-time Deputy Prime Minister Shi Zhongxun, the younger Xi spent decades working his way up to party and government ranks, but his consolidation of power since becoming head of the party in 2012 has been unprecedented. Xi's ascent culminated last week in Parliament's passing of a constitutional amendment that eliminated term limits for the presidency, discarding a rule that had helped keep leaders in check and underpinned collective decision-making for 35 years. Following are some key dates in Xi's life and rise to power. September 9, 1976, Mao dies. Mao Zedong, that great helmsman, dies at the age of 82. Xi is 23 and a chemical engineering student at Tsinghua University. China goes into mourning and Hua Guofeng, Mao's hand-picked successor, takes over. For a time, Hua is treated like Mao, but he is eventually sidelined by Deng Xiaoping, who sets China on a more practical, less dogmatic, path. 1974 Party man. After being sent to work in the poverty-stricken countryside, in Shaanxi province, as a teenager during the Cultural Revolution, Xi joins the Communist Youth League and then, in 1974, the party, at the age of about 21. December 4, 1982 term limits introduced. The National People's Congress adopts a new constitution that includes provisions that limit presidents and vice presidents to 2 5-year terms. The introduction of term limits was an attempt to prevent China from sliding back into strongman rule after Mao's tumultuous 27-year reign. October 21, 2007 Elite Committee. Xi is promoted into the Politburo Standing Committee, the most elite political body, directly from the Central Committee, after stints in the government and party in Fujian and Zhejiang provinces and Shanghai. He and Li Keqiang, the current premier, are considered to be likely successors to then President and party chief Hu Jintao. Xi also becomes a vice chairman of the Central Military Commission. Xi became the vice president of China on March 15, 2008. The National People's Congress elects Xi vice president. November 15, 2012 Top positions. Xi is named General Secretary of the Communist Party, and also becomes chairman of the Central Military Commission. Holding the top positions in the party and military, Xi starts to maneuver to consolidate his power. 2012 Anti-corruption salvos fired. Xi pledges to crack down on tigers and flies in the party and launches what is to become China's most sweeping anti-corruption drive. The campaign becomes popular with the public, but critics accuse Xi of using it to neutralize political opponents. Thousands of officials are punished for corruption or discipline violations, including former Politburo Standing Committee member Zhou Yongkang. Xi uses the campaign to clean out the senior ranks of the military. March 14, 2013 President. The National People's Congress elects Xi president. While the presidency is the least powerful of Xi's key roles, it is symbolically critical and provides Xi with a platform on which he can promote China's interests on the global stage. October 24, 2017 Enshrined. The 19th Party Congress enshrines Xi's political thinking. Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era into the party's constitution. Because Xi is still serving in office, this move is widely interpreted as placing him in the same company as the founder of modern China, Mao, and cementing his power. Xi's signature, Belt and Road, initiative to invest trillions of yuan in trade links with Central Asia and Europe was also included in the party constitution, lending it weight. October 25, 2017 Party chief again. Xi is handed a second term as General Secretary of the party during the 19th Party Congress. March 11, 2018, end of term limits. The National People's Congress votes nearly unanimously to abolish term limits for the presidency. There are 2 votes against, 3 abstentions and 1 invalid vote. The elimination of limits catches many by surprise, and while delegates to parliament and official media say it reflects the will of the people, many privately express concern. June 15, 1953, 11 is born. Xi Jinping is born in Beijing, princeling, child of an official. His father, Xi Zhongxun, fought in the Communist Revolution and later served as an official, rising to become a liberal-minded vice premier. The young Xi grew up among the party elite that saw his father purged and later jailed during the 1966-76 Cultural Revolution, only to be rehabilitated and allowed back into government after Mao's death. March 17, 2018, second term as president. The National People's Congress is due to elect Xi president for a second 5-year term. Second terms have been the norm. Xi's most recent predecessors, Hu Jintao and Jiang Zemin, both served 2 terms. At the October Party Congress, however, the party broke with tradition and installed no obvious successor to Xi in the Politburo Standing Committee. Analysts had speculated that Xi might anoint a successor during his second term as party chief and president. The elimination of term limits throws that into question. A throwback? With his new title and wide power base, Xi may be planning to stay on as China's leader after the end of his second term in 2022, some experts suggest, breaking a tradition followed by his 2 predecessors. There are a lot of rumors that he'll stay beyond his second term, but I think Chinese politics are not really predictable, both said. Even if he wants to be like Putin in Russia, to stay beyond his second term, we don't know if this can be realized. Li said Xi needed to accumulate power in order to push through difficult political and economic reforms, but despite his bold power plays, China's president has left many economists frustrated. China's President Xi Jinping inspects People's Liberation Army soldiers at a barracks in Hong Kong on June 30th. Some feel he has failed to live up to his rhetoric, particularly after his initial statements in 2012 that changes can brook no delay. His economic reforms have been disappointing. He's a preservationist. He wants the Communist Party to maintain a total dominance over the country's political and, to some extent, economic resources, Lam said. He is not a man of the 21st century, he seems to be a throwback to the Mao Zedong era. As China takes a greater role on the world stage, amid continually slowing economic growth, some experts have questioned if the country will continue to grow under Xi's leadership. In spite of his charisma, in spite of his Machiavellian skills in winning over enemies, he has these big problems that I think no one can solve, Lam said.